the good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. What are we gonna make? Today we're gonna make spaghetti alla Puttanesca. Puttanesca, great history on that. It actually started around 1950s. And the story goes that a bunch of people walked into a famous Italian restaurant and they were really hungry and they were looking for something quick. And the chef was essentially out of everything. He was out of all kinds of food, if you will, everything on the menu. So they said, hey, we don't care, just give us something. So Puttanesca has some other meanings, which I won't get into, but it actually, in this case, in the Italian vernacular, means worthless. So basically the chef took what he deemed to be some worthless ingredients that he had laying around in the kitchen, and he put them together, and it actually became a famous dish. The people loved it. It became on the menu, and it's certainly been something that's been equated to Italian culture ever since. There's a lot of different versions, a lot of different varieties. Whether you go down to Naples or Sicily or Northern Italian, there's always little different variations of it. But we're going to make more what you consider to be the traditional Puttanesca sauce. Okay, so essentially the ingredients on a Puttanesca are going to be your spaghetti, which we'll touch on in a moment, and then you're going to want anchovies, you're going to want capers, you're going to want garlic. Many of the Italian versions have a little bit of a kick to it, a little like, you know, hey, forget about it. So we're going to add a little red pepper and such. So let me go through the ingredients quick. This is a fast video. It's a lot of fun. It's easy, and this is one of those dishes that you can put together really quick on a Sunday for your family, which is what we're going to do today. So, so to get started, we got 1 pound of pasta. Now, my advice on pasta in this case, you can use really any kind of pasta for this dish. It goes really well, but traditionally it's served with a capellini, an angel hair spaghetti. So my advice on a pasta is you always want an Italian pasta, durum wheat, no ingredients. I don't want it enriched or nothing. I want durum wheat water, dried from Italy. That's what I want. So I've got 1 pound of pasta going on right now. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick from Grandma Caroline Borio here from Italia, okay? We're going to have some anchovies, and a little trick is I've got 3 anchovies in here, and we're going to soak them in milk. So just get some cold milk in the anchovies, and what it does is it basically bleeds out the salt. You're going to want to do that as well with the capers. So I've got 1/3 of a cup of capers, but I soaked them in some milk just to get rid of some of the saltiness. It won't get rid of all of it, but it'll get rid of some of it. So I've got 1/3 of a cup of capers. I've got 3 flat anchovies, 1 pound of pasta. My little secret ingredient is 2 tablespoons of butter. I've got some flat Italian parsley. I've got 1/3 of a cup of chopped black olives. You can use any type of olive you want, but traditionally it's served with a black olive. So I've got a black olive, and I always love those. When you were a kid, did you always stick them to your fingers? It's a lot of fun, right? And bite them. Maybe I'm the only one going on here. And then I've got some garlic. So I've got 3 small cloves of garlic, or maybe 2 large cloves of garlic, and I got it chopped really, really small there, okay? And then essentially what I've got is I've got about 5 peeled tomatoes in some sauce, okay? So I've got that San Marzano grape tomatoes, and they're whole in here along with the sauce is how they were canned, all right? And then I'll show you what, essentially what you can just break them with your hand or break them with a spoon, and as you cook it, you just want to break all that up. And this, like I said, goes really quickly. We're going to want some pepper. You're not going to need any salt in this dish. The butter has some salt along with the anchovies and the caper, so it's already going to add a lot of salt to the dish. We're going to want some olive oil. Where could I get some good olive oil? I don't know. I know where. There's my cheap plug always, right? Vito and Joe. So there's my son Vito sitting right over there. I got my other son Joey, who just finished his first year of culinary school in Italy. So we've got a farm in Italy, and the olives are from right in Puglia, and they're grassy, earthy. It's got a little bit of a pepper kick to it. Absolutely delicious olive oil. We sell it right on our Facebook, right on my Cooking Italian with Joe website. Makes a great gift, certainly. So grab a bottle of olive oil. Certainly we use that in all our cooking as well. Olive oil, and that's essentially about it. So I got a pan over here on the stove going. I've got my pot going with the pasta. All right, guys, so I'm going to take some olive oil. I'm going to throw, you know, maybe 1/4 to 1/3 a cup of olive oil in the bottom of that pan, okay? And then immediately I'm going to throw that butter in there. And I'm going to wait till that butter and olive oil kind of marry together here real quick. Okay, so I've got everything married in there, so I'm going to take that garlic. So I'm going to mix that right up. And again, I don't want to brown it. I got the heat really low on a simmer. But what I want to do is I want to get it just to the point of brown. I mean, just on the cusp of it. because what it's going to do, it's going to release those oils, it's going to release that flavor. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So one of the tricks I like to do is I always like to just, when the garlic gets really close, just so I don't get a chunk of it, even though I minced it really tight, I know it's done when I just take the back of my wooden spoon here and I just kind of mush it down. Just kind of blend it, almost make a paste out of it. Okay, so now my next ingredient, as I said, is we're going to take those anchovies. Now I had these soaking in milk, okay? So I'm going to take that anchovy, and then as it, just get it in the corner, as it starts to heat, same thing, you're going to make like an anchovy paste. So I don't like getting the paste or anything. I like just taking it and mixing it in. So I just take that anchovy, and see, I just mush it right down. So now it almost disintegrates, you know, and now what that does is that it just adds that flavor that you're looking for, right? So now I've got the anchovies. Now I took 1/3 of a red pepper, so I took 1/3 of a red pepper here, okay? So now everything else just goes in. Now you're making your puttanesca with all your ingredients, okay? So I got my red peppers, I got my black olives, okay? And I've got my capers. So I don't want to add my tomatoes at this point until everything gets nice and warm and really mixed well and hot and cooked down. And we're almost done. All right, guys, so now what I'm going to do is throw in that pasta, right? Just to give you a heads up, a capellini takes about 3 minutes, so okay? 3 minuti in Italiano, okay? So this is cooking down good. Now I'm not mashing or mushing anything at this point. I just want everything to get hot and somewhat cooked, okay? And just marrying those delicious flavors. And I want that pepper to really give off some heat. So I'm just gonna let this cook down. We're gonna go about 2 minutes. Then I'm gonna add the tomatoes. All right, guys, so it's been just about another minute or two. Now I'm gonna hit some ground pepper in there. And I always put that right in before my tomatoes. And you know, you're gonna want a good half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. Nothing's better than fresh ground. So if you can do the fresh ground, hit it. I got the pasta going. Oh, so you can smell that. Oh, absolutely awesome. So here's my tomatoes. I got those whole tomatoes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put those in. Once the tomatoes are in, I'm gonna wanna mush them down, right? So I'm gonna let them get warm just for a few minutes. So I'm gonna mix everything together. I want the tomato first to get warm. You can do it with your hands, but without making a mess. Once they get warm, they almost kind of fall apart on their own. I smash it. So what I do is I just get a couple of tomatoes over here, right? Clean the side of the pan. And so they've been in there a minute, not even, right? So they're pretty warm. Everything in there starting to marry, right? Because I don't want to smush the capers and all that, right? So I just push it over to the side. And then with the tomato, see that just breaks apart. Just make like a sauce out of it right there, right? All right, guys, here we go. So this is done. So the sauce is essentially done. My pasta's done, okay? So you see it? You know how beautiful that is? And we want to call it al dente, right? Al dente. All right, so I'm going to bring it across, and I'm going to pop it right in. So, and then you're probably going to want to add, don't worry about adding some water. A lot of times people, you don't realize the starch. And I always add a little semolina flour to my pasta water because I want that starch. In fact, what I'm going to want to do here is I'm going to grab a ladle, one ladle, see how beautiful starchy that is? Maybe a little bit more. Now I'm done. That's it. That's absolutely finito. Bravissimo. So you're just going to stir it right in there, get all those capers and sauce, olive oil, garlic. And as soon as it's mixed, I'm going to shut that heat off. And then the last thing you want to do, because you don't want to cook it down, is you want to add your parsley, okay? So I'm going to add almost all my parsley. I'm just going to hold a little bit back just for the plate. All right, guys, there you go. Here's a little spaghetti alla puttanesca. So I'm going to just pop there right in my bowl. And then what I like to do is just finish it with a little parsley. Whoa, whoa, fresh parsley's jumping right out of the bowl there. I like to hit it with a little pepper on top. A little color, a little flavor. Oh, that is awesome. All right, guys, you ready? Plated that puppy. You know, sometimes you throw a little cheese on there, sometimes you don't. Today I'm not. Oh, I can smell the garlic, the olive oil, the pepper, the capers. You know, it's just got that great smell to it. That is absolutely delicious. We're gonna have one more. Molto buono. Man, that's good. So, you know, it's funny. My dad ran a restaurant, so you know, I read that story about the puttanesca and where that came from a number of years ago, and just doing my own research. But you know, my dad used to do something similar like that down the restaurant. He would just take a lot of times whatever was left, and he would throw it in a dish for either the family, or he'd throw it in for the staff, you know, and they'd always have a nice big bowl of pasta at the end of a busy night and have a lot of fun. So, hey guys, thanks for allowing me to spend a few minutes certainly celebrating my heritage, showing you some of our traditions in our family. Set some of your own traditions, celebrate your own heritage, make some pasta puttanesca next time for your family. In the meantime, guys, until next week, buon appetito.
Full of fun seems to be the ideal.